3 o'clock. Three o'clock.
We are live. We've been live. Hello, everyone. As you're coming in, can you please invite someone in? Just have them, and as you're coming in, like and share. We see you coming in.
Good stuff. Good afternoon, everyone. Look at people coming in. As you come in, let us know where you're coming from, where you're chiming in. We just want to jump on here and spend a little time with everyone and share a few things that can what we believe can be of help to you. So just take a moment to say hello, where you're watching from, and all that good stuff. Um, and so we can chime right back, chime right back to you. So good stuff. Eastern Pennsylvania. I don't recall have I ever been to Easton. Ah, I like Easton. I really do. It's beautiful up there. Beautiful people. It's like I need to take a vacation up there. Good stuff.
Poconos Mountain, Poconos in the mountain. See you coming.
Pocono. Oh man. Wow. Wow. That's beautiful up there too. I've been able to stand up on the mountains and watch out over the valley. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So great place to be.
I see someone from New York too.
Cool.
I know some of you may be working, but you have the opportunity to listen in. So if you, at this time, you can just share it with someone. And if you're on YouTube, you can subscribe and like. And if you're on Facebook, you can like and share. So everyone right now would take that time, take that moment and just pick on your phone and hit share. And it will go to your contacts, share it, or go on your news feed.
Good stuff. Good
Oh,
stuff.
Pastor Law, Dr. Law, Dr. Kenneth K. Law, the man.
No.
All the knowledge, full of wisdom. Staten Island, I see you on. Andrea, I see you on the Poconos. I see you on. You're actually in Allentown. Maybe the whole
Good
VA
stuff.
is here.
Good stuff. Well, let's go for it.
Let's go. Let's go. We see him coming in. So Apostle Law, Dr. Law, I have to know he's Dr. Law. He's a powerful man of God that I am blessed to be connected with. Man of many talents, many skills, has a lot to impart to many of us. And so today I'm going to ask, as we begin to share with you, just open up and be able to receive. This is going to be some powerful information that we're going to be releasing. Today we're going to be talking about the strategies of collaboration. So we are excited about this. And the other day we were just, Dr. Law and I were just talking the other day, and all this just began to come out of his mouth. And I was sharing with him, I am so honored to be able to, for us to be, him to be my father in the ministry, covering me and things like that. And it's just to hear when he opens up his mouth, my phone is literally always on record because I'm recording, because there's so many nuggets that he begins to talk about. And I was sharing with him as we came together to do global leadership group, as we came together, I had to realize that we are collaborating, we are partners, we are doing this together. And I had to realize that there is things that he may do one way, I may do one another, but learning how to merge those things and being open to hear him and really hear him and hear him fully, to hear the vision, hear what, his portion, what he has, and just being able to listen to him. So I begin to talk about, learning how to, Misty, you don't have to be in control or try to control it or try to do this. This is a partnership. So put it together. So it just started from there, Dr. Law. It just you begin to open up, and it was very, very powerful. And you started to talk about the strength of collaboration and what it does and what it means. So today we are here just giving you a pop-up to talk about exactly what we were talking about. You probably get a little bit more as we get them to start talking. So, but we were looking at that. So, Dr. Law, I'm going to turn this part over to you, and I'll jump in. And because we started talking about kings and priests collaborating, we just had a wonderful time, and let's invite them into our conversation. And we can see how leaders, because leaders struggle with this. People struggle with this. We struggle with this inside of our households. Husbands and wives struggle with it. They struggle with it on their job. They struggle with it in their churches. There's just a struggle when it comes to the word collaboration.
And I think it's so important, as you say this, I think it's clear, it's going to be imperative that we really understand what is the definition of collaboration. Because when you begin to understand what a word means and begin to understand the etymology of the word and its origin, it brings a lot more clarity when you're using the word and help you understand how it should be used and how it can be misused. And so when the definition of collaboration is the intentional and strategic process of two or more individuals, teams, or organizations working together to achieve a shared goal, leveraging the diverse skills, perspectives, and resources for mutual benefit. From a leadership and business definition, collaboration in leadership and business is the strategic alignment of efforts, knowledge, and skills across individuals or organizations to drive innovation, productivity, efficiency, and sustainable success. Now, when it comes to the kingdom and ministry, collaboration has a definition also. In the kingdom of God, collaboration is a covenantal partnership where individuals, churches, ministries, leaders unite to advance the gospel, disciple nations, and fulfill the Great Commission. So biblical collaboration is rooted in unity, humility, and the power of the Holy Spirit working through a collective body. But I also would like to include the willingness to be submitted to one another's abilities and talents and wisdom and counsel, wise counsel, the ability to come together outside of the silo of kind of where we find ourselves many times. Many times when we say we want to work together, but we really just want everyone to work with the one person that has the idea or the vision, not so much, not really working across the board with everyone. So sometimes when you talk about collaboration, it's important that we understand what both sides are bringing to the table to bring clarity to something, especially if there's a particular problem. Usually what happens when there's a particular problem that's in front, collaboration helps to bring different insights. It brings skills, it brings understandings that can solve the problem on multiple fronts, because sometimes there's some parts of the problem that can be solved a certain way, but then there's another part of the problem that has to be solved another way. And when you're working in collaborations, you are able to kind of have a multifaceted approach to a problem that you can solve, but also uproot anything that could bring the problem back. So collaborations are not just for the moment to work through with something, but to work through something. But really collaborations can work through something while disrupting it from returning and then implementing something better, and also and sometimes something new that needs to now take root. So collaborations are powerful when they are fully understood. They're powerful when both sides are at a place of understanding of what they bring to the table and are not afraid of what is on the other side of the table, realizing I need what's on the other side of that table to solve this problem that's on the table.
When I'm thinking about, as you're talking, I'm thinking about leadership in a whole. Is that's why a lot of companies deal with leadership teams, and they want teams to be come together. They want people to work together because there is strength when you can sit down at the table and you can begin to talk. But one of the issues, do you think, as we have walked through this, is that the lack of communication or the lack of willing to share their portions that they have in the midst of collaboration, afraid that it will take away from their status of maybe not knowing it all. So people, a lot of times when we're coming together, because with collaboration, you need strategic aligning. You have to know the strengths of what one another is. So at that first beginning stage, isn't it that people feel like they may be vulnerable to someone else with maybe a capability or a capacity that they may have portrayed that they have, but they really don't have?
I think the challenge with collaboration is not the principle of collaborations, it's the persons within the collaborations. And collaboration itself is beautiful. It's a strategy, it's a technology, it's a mindset, it's a paradigm, it's an understanding. It's a different approach. It's an environment. We talked about that. Collaboration is a culture. Some people, when they come into a situation of leadership, they've never been in a culture of collaboration. They've never been in a culture of teams. And sometimes what happens with some people, there's a struggle with collaboration for some people because deep down, and I'm going to take a spiritual slant just a little bit. Sometimes people have a struggle with family. And when there's a struggle with family or distrust of family, collaboration begins to look like something very distant that cannot be achieved because we're tying this present move of collaboration to our past infrastructure of family. And so we bring these things into the place and don't allow covenantal relationships to really take root, because we come in not so much being submitted to one another. We can sometimes come in being defensive and only wanting our perspective to be dominant while wanting everyone to collaborate on our perspective, but it's really not a team. It is that you really just want people to do your idea. And some of that, the challenge comes where I wrote on my notes that there must be a certain element of emotional intelligence when you're dealing with collaborations. Because when a person is not really fully aware of who they are and what they are, they bring that lack of insight to themselves into the collaboration. And then it causes an unevenness. There's no traction. There's actually a resistance. I think the Bible talks about making sure the donkey and the what is it? The donkey and the ox don't
Ox.
plow together. One is going to be resistant and stubborn. Another one is about that work. That ox is about that work. That ox is about getting it done. That donkey is a beast of burden, doesn't want to move, doesn't want to be bothered. And so we have to be very mindful when we're dealing with collaborations of where the person is themselves. Are they anti-team? Are they anti-unity? Are they anti-family? And are they more pro-power? Are they more domination? Are they more pro it's my way or the highway type approach? And so those are some things we have to really analyze that can make working together so tedious, because the problem is not the problem. The problem now is in the collaboration, not the actual problem that the collaboration came together to solve. So if you're not careful, the team has a bigger problem than what the problem is that they came together to solve. So now you're fighting two things. We're trying to solve a problem that we really were hired to solve. And then now we got to solve the problem that we're supposed to be coming together to solve the problem. And so it creates a lot of confusion, and it causes a lot of lack of traction. And I think we said this before, no trust. When there's no trust in the collaboration, there's no traction. There's no deliverables. Nothing is solved. More chaos is created.
And adding to that, competition. When other person brings in competition, it calls people to go into that competing mode, not working together. It brings you into a place of independence, when collaboration is not meant to be independent. It's meant to be corporate, working together. And so do you think that in looking at this, we must, in the midst of collaboration, people need to know the structure, the confinements, their responsibilities, what this is. So coming together, we need to know this thing up front, because one of the biggest things I see, even say for today, say for instance, we say, let's bring the churches together, or corporations together. It's hard to do that when you have leadership that don't have teams or don't have infrastructure to be able to deal with groups, because they're so used to planning everything by themselves. They're in the background, they're doing everything. So when we come and we're presenting something, there's no input from other people. And if you walk through most of your life like that, you're really going to struggle in your leadership. Do you?
I think part of the challenge with collaboration, and like I said, collaboration, the principle is not the problem. It's the persons that bring the problem. And some of the challenges, when people don't really know their role and they begin to measure their role or against a role they think they should have, they then begin motivated through jealousy and envy about something they think they should be or what they think should have. So it's hard to collaborate with a person that doesn't know who they are. It's hard to collaborate with someone who is not sure of what they bring to the table. If you're come to a dinner and they say, hey, everyone bring something, and they ask you to bring the paper towels, they then ask you to bring the turkey, and you're upset that you had to bring the paper towels and the paper plates. You didn't get to bring the big stuff, but you forget to realize, if you don't bring those paper towels and those paper plates, we have nothing to put our food on. We have nothing to wipe our hands with. We have nothing to wipe our mouths with. And so sometimes we're so busy looking at what we think we don't get to do, we never appreciate what we actually get to do and what we're called to do, that it looks minor to others. But if I don't do my part, I'm the pinky toe. If I don't do my part, the body can't stand because I bring balance. I may be small in my contribution, but I'm
Right.
big in what my necessity. And so sometimes we don't realize just your part plays a role. That's why you're on the team. And if you're on the team because of what you bring, it is not your job to. We don't need 5 quarterbacks. We need 1 quarterback. And if everyone thinks I'm supposed to be throwing the ball because I feel and I feel and I feel, then we never get anywhere because we don't appreciate what we do get to do, and we don't appreciate what we do get to bring because we're not sure of who we are. And that's a struggle with collaborations that hinder building great teams. Great teams are built on everyone understanding their roles, their strengths, their weaknesses, what they bring, what they do, the thinking, their skill set. Everyone understands it and everyone's fine with it because when one wins, we all win. But
Right.
if you have people on the team who are not sure, who are bothered, who are upset, who are looking almost like looking for churches, looking for teams, looking for things they can. I need to find some place where my gift can shine. I need to. It's all about them. Then it's a problem. It's very hard to come together. It's very hard to bring leaders together if they are not sure of who they are, but yet need the collaboration to get where they need to be. And that's the trick of the enemy. It tricks you. He uses those things to trick you into staying away from the very collaborations that you need to get you to the place that you believe you're called to be. I'm not where I am today without collaborations of others that I've had to sit at their feet and they poured into me. Same with you. But if we bypass that, just trying to get to a certain place, we really miss the identity forming journey that
Right.
comes with being a part of key strategic collaborations, so that when it is time for us to be called upon, we've already dealt with this stuff. We know our place, we know our role, we're happy about it. How can I serve? How can I contribute? Do I need to usher? Do I need to pick up tables? Do I need to speak? Do I need to wipe the floor? I'm good with the assignment because I'm good with me.
As you're saying this, I want to throw something in there because when you look at ministry, for me, I'm going to look at ministry and I'm going to look at the fivefold, our 5 ascension gifts, however we want to say, apostle, prophet, evangelist, pastor, teacher. So when we look at those, and it's very clear because before it talks about collaboration with them, it talks about identity. It talks about them knowing who they are. So those people who are called into those offices, called to be those leaders, they're supposed to understand their role and their function so that when they come together, they're not competing with one another and they don't have to go down and break down, well, this is who you are, this is who you are, this is who you are, because it talks about scripturally, biblically, that they're all supposed to come together and be jointly fit together, and every joint is supposed to supply each joint. But when we don't know who we are and we don't know what we have or what we can do, trying to bring a bunch of people together that don't know their identity and then trying to get them to collaborate and understand that it's supposed to work together, it can bring a hindrance to the process.
Mm-hmm. You can't use collaboration as opportunity. And many times people say, yeah, let's come together, because that one person may already have a platform in mind or what they think this is their moment. So the goal really isn't collaboration, working together, submitting to one another. The goal is opportunity for me to bolster my brand, bolster what I think I get to do and who I think I am. And when you lack that place of identity, I think in that book I wrote, Becoming, about really, we put so much emphasis on the position and the performance, but we forgot to deal with the person of who we are. So we bypass the person. which is really where the fivefold comes out of. The fivefold comes out of the grace and person of Jesus Christ. And
Right.
so when we don't allow ourselves to come out of the grace and person of Jesus Christ, we now break the fivefold up into five little companies or five little opportunities that we try to use to bolster who we think we should be in front of everybody, instead of realizing it is a collaboration of graces working together in kingdom leadership to be able to advance the cause of Christ, to advance the kingdom of God in all spheres of society, on all the 7 mountains, 8, 9, however many you have, and be able to really bring a better quality of life to people. This is where we get stuck at. Collaborations not only solve problems, but they are supposed to walk in a shared vision that will bring a higher quality of life for those they come across. Collaborations are not designed for opportunity. Collaborations are designed to bring community and to bring a better day and a better solution and a better way of doing things before the people, so that the people continue to have hope and continue to move forward. When you have people collaborating for selfish reasons, the people suffer. The earth suffers because we're not collaborating based on our true identity. We're collaborating based on what we feel we should be entitled to. And I'm going to use this to get what I think I should be entitled to and forget all this other stuff. And then I'll look at the fivefold to see which one can get me to my place I think I should be. So maybe it's the apostle, maybe it's the prophet, but it will always be the son and the servant of what we're supposed to be to collaborate. That's why it says, unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain. So we must be careful that we must build and collaborate with those who are like-minded and like-spirited in Christ, so that we're able to really accomplish great things and raise up cities out of ruins because of the collaboration of the anointing on the corporate body. And when we're able to really submit ourselves to that, then we can rebuild walls. Then we can really understand that Nehemiah, who was a cupbearer, is still worthy to be submitted to and collaborate with, because he's the man with the plan. But by me collaborating with him, I win. We all win. The wall gets built.
All goes up.
We have a community again, and God is glorified. So we can't use collaboration for our selfish opportunity. We have to use collaboration to strengthen the person of Christ and the grace of Christ within the community of Christ, and then take that community into the world.
Wow. I was literally thinking about Nehemiah, and then I also, on a negative end of it, I thought about the collaboration when they were building the Tower of Babel, that how those minds got together and collaborated and got, matter of fact, he said, when you come together, there's nothing that shall be impossible. So collaboration is learning how to submit ourselves to one another. I'm thinking about not to see ourselves so higher than we ought to, esteeming others and receiving them for who they are, what they have, what they can bring to the table, and seeing, okay, let's put this all together, and it's for the vision, for the purpose of what we came together for. We're not, and as you're saying, not going off to our own. It's for the purpose that we are here, the purpose that we have gathered. Even for companies and corporations, they want us to be thinking about their vision, their mission of their company. They don't want you to come there to get this information and go apply, run off with it. They're like, we need to bring this because we're trying to bring us to a next place. We're trying to build a community, build a corporation, build a people that will be able to survive off of what we're building. Wow. So go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to go ahead because I was going to go to another top subject.
Well, let me just say this. One of the things that I think sometimes we not miss, but may not have thought about with the Tower of Babel, why they were, for lack of a better word, successful. Number one, they were scared to death. There was a lot going on there. But also, here's one element that sometimes we miss in collaborations and in leadership is discipline.
Yeah.
When you understand the power of discipline in a collaboration, it helps you to stay focused on your role in the bigger picture, and you're able to get things done and get things accomplished. What happens sometimes in leadership, and when people don't know who they are and don't understand their role, they lack discipline. And sometimes lack of discipline can lead to micromanagement. Lack of discipline can lead to bullying. Lack of discipline can lead to undercutting others, trying to take the praise of things that happen at the job. Lack of discipline can be a person that will kill the team only for them to be exalted. Lack of discipline will cause you to really miss out on the opportunity of really doing something big, meaningful that creates legacy. And when there's no discipline on a team, collaboration, the principles in the strategy of collaboration simply falter. They don't work because of the lack of discipline, the lack of being submitted to one another, the lack of understanding what's the real goal here. What are we going after? What's supposed to happen when we get done with this? And when the goals are shared and understood, then discipline should be applied and vision is manifested and come together. God's glorified because you got a discipline, collaboration, working together that gets it. That gets it.
Right.
And when you get it, then the quarterback gets a Super Bowl ring, but also the trainer gets a Super Bowl ring. The water boy, whoever collaborated and came a part of it, everyone gets a ring. So I may not be on the field, and I may not have thrown that TD pass, and I may not get to say I'm going to Disneyland, but I get to reap some of the same benefits as those on the team because I'm a part of the team. I'm a part of the collaboration, and I was disciplined enough to know my role, to know my place, and I didn't get jealous. I did my role and my job unto God in excellence. I made myself indispensable so the next time collaboration comes up, they will think of me because I'm disciplined. You got to have me. I'm going to make myself indispensable by making sure I'm disciplined and focused on the vision.
So we talked about the other day about collaboration, how it is an ancient principle. So it's not new. It just didn't come about. It's been around forever. As long as we actually, when God even said, "Man should not be alone. Let me give him a help me." So we see it very much in the Word. Even Jesus and his disciples, all they ever did in the beginning is collaboration. Even in the heavens, it was collaboration. Everybody understood, and they moved together, they flowed together to bring what needed to be presented. So let's really talk about these ancient principles. So those that are going to be, a part of global leadership. So we can give them an idea of that this isn't just something that we're just talking about. This is not something that just came about in the 80s. This is something, because in the 80s, you've seen a lot of corporations, a lot of nonprofits coming together doing collaboration because they were doing collaboration because it was about grants. They wanted grants, and then businesses and corporations and private donors, they wanted to now to be able to give their funds to organizations that can reach a whole bunch more people than just one person, foundations. So they started to looking for the word collaboration. So it really started to get big in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. Even today, people want to know, who are you collaborating with? It's an ancient principle.
It's an ancient principle. Everything we have is ancient technology. It's just in a modern time. And the first collaboration is right there in Genesis when he says, "Let us make man." That's our first experience of collaboration. That in order for them to make something great and amazing as mankind, it took the collaboration of the Godhead to say,
Yes.
let us
That's
make, let us do this and in our image and in our likeness, so that we would begin to understand the concept of collaboration. Then he says it's not good that man should be alone. And so there's a collaboration there. When we continue to understand and move through scripture, we see that the Lord is always doing things in teams. He's always doing things, even if he starts with a man, even if that man is in a cave and trying to get away from the troubles and turn around and his 400 men standing behind him, like, what we gonna do? You know, that here comes David and his mighty men. He goes in there like, I need a break. I'm done. I'm out. I just need, and while he's there, everyone flocks to him. They collaborate. And then when you read further, we talk about the sons of Issachar and they could discern the times and all that stuff. Everyone comes together to put David on the throne.
That's their purpose. Yeah.
Everyone came together. The sons of Issachar could discern the season and times of what to do about David getting on the throne. And so when you have the young men that come and he said, hey, the Spirit of God came upon Amasai and said, hey, we come in peace. And, you know, so everyone comes together, which shows collaboration draws, well, let me say this, real vision will draw true collaboration.
That's good.
When it's a vision from God, it's going to draw the best of the best, wanting to collaborate on what's the goal? Get David on the throne. What do we need to do? And the beauty of collaboration is that no one came in there. The Bible talks about in that scripture how they were able to maintain order, keep ranks. They were able to do everything to make sure David got on the throne. There are people, even though we're in a time where everyone wants to be their own, everyone wants to be their silo, there's still a remnant of people who don't care about their name being called. They love order. They don't have a problem with rank and order. They don't care about they don't care about their name being called. What's the vision? What are we working toward? What's going to make our lives better? What's going to glorify God? There are still people out here like that. I hope to meet more of them in the days to come. But but that's important that we understand that once they understood this vision that was God sent, it drew authentic teamwork, authentic collaboration. Even though they meet him in the cave and they're messed up in life, his leadership and his strength and his vision and God's hand upon him was enough to draw them out of being discontent, depressed, and in debt and whatever, all that stuff, and draw them out and say, let's focus on something greater. That's the power and the strategy of collaboration. When it's real, it will allow you to focus on something greater, even though your life on fire right now.
You know, I was just thinking about when you were talking about the sons of Issachar and Dan Naphtali, all of them, when the Bible talks about each quality, each what they possess, how they needed, what they needed to get the job done. But what amazes me is that thousands of them were able to come together to collaborate. So it wasn't just 1, 2, or 3. These were 1,000 of men that were able to come together, and they all 12 tribes came together, and they said, even the ones that were divided, you know, in the kingdoms, they came together and they said, this is what we're going to do. And they did it. And it wasn't about a big I and a little U. It was really the tribe of Issachar saying, look, this is the time, this is the season, let's collaborate to do what we got to do to put him where it is. So there is still a leader. There was still a leader there, but there was a lot of communication going on back and forth.
And when you read that, when it says in First Chronicles 12:38, it says, all these men of war who could keep ranks came to Hebron with a loyal heart to make David king over all Israel, and all the rest of Israel were of one mind to make David king. And so when the vision is clear, collaboration is easy. And it draws the best of the best. It draws people who really want to see what God has put in place. They really want to see the company thrive. They really want to see things work together. I think in the news, I think Nissan and Honda are working together to merge, to come together. Nissan's been struggling. So they're like, listen, instead of just sitting here struggling, let us collaborate. Let's merge and bring what we have to the table to what they have to the table. And then let's keep living. And sometimes what happens, we don't want to, we rather die than collaborate with someone that has the life vest. We'd rather drown than get on and then be with the person that has the boat that has no holes in it. And that's arrogance and that's pride, but it's also the ignorance that grips so many that they would rather die than to collaborate with the one that can help them to extend life. And I see some things happening in the body of Christ and even in the world, in the marketplace. While we're struggling with collaborating with each other, our enemies are not. While we're struggling with collaborating and working together and using what we have, our enemies have no problem with working together because their focus is to annihilate us.
Right.
Our focus is to be jealous of one another. So when we're all over the place and mad at this person got one member more than I got, and they got this, and they just got a new fellowship hall, and they over here, and while we're scattered in focus, the enemy has one vision. And when they're in agreement, how says, how can two walk together unless they're in agreement? So there are people that are in agreement, using our principles against us
every day.
And we're sitting here like jealous and walking around with a fence in our hearts. And we really need to grow up, mature, repent, but then also, what's the remnant? And where's the remnant that desires vision? Who can I work? I don't care if my name don't get called. Who can I work with that's going to help bring a better quality of life to our community? And I'm talking about all people, because all people are suffering right now. All people are. So true vision brings authentic collaboration.
And that's one of
beautiful thing.
Our call is to help people to be able to see and understand, about what global leadership is, what is leadership is, how people can begin to look and they can see what their gift, their callings, and how to become better at who they are and how to work with one another. That's what we're about. We're really about, coming to impart the knowledge that we have received over all these years to give to people so that they can be able to look and say, I could not only just be a leader, but I can be a successful leader, and I can empower and help someone else to come up. So I'm really excited about all that we're doing. And even in the midst of this, Dr. Law, when we begin to look at something else we were talking, I'm going to switch us a little bit about king and priest. If we can, I know we're just going to hit on a couple of things, but if we can just switch a little bit and just talk about how the king and the priest begin to collaborate with one another. And then the Bible calls us king and priest, but a lot of times we get stuck just in the priest part of it, and we never moved in the king part. So we are not a balanced people, and therefore it has affected our leadership, is affected, our finances get affected, our family gets affected, because we have not known how to walk as king and as priest at the same time.
And I think this past week I had a pastor, Bishop D.A. Lazarus, that came and visited us, him and his wife, and he shared with some of my leaders. And one thing he said, among many nuggets, he said to one of my leaders, he was moving in this kind of prophetic realm, and he asked them why, what was, I see that you had this business. And they said, I used to have. And he said, what do you mean used to have? Why don't you still have it? And he said, well, I started doing this business over here. And he challenged them to that, you don't want to ever get to the place that you begin to abandon other streams of income or streams of wealth coming into your life because you're ready to move on. You pivot and you redevelop a strategy that will allow you to shift and move into new things while still cultivating other streams, other opportunities, and you harmonize those things. One of the things that what we talked about is that because to walk as a king and a priest means that we must begin to understand the functions of both while harmonizing them together, learning the ministry that is within us, the worship that's within us, but also the governmental responsibilities that's within us, that we're supposed to develop both into one to walk daily in this kingship and in this priesthood that allows us to execute in the earth spiritually and naturally, and to move in a different grace that helps people to no longer hide behind working for God, but also learning how to worship God. A lot of
Right.
people
Right.
think they worship God, they really just work for God. And it's easier for them to work for God than it is for them to worship, because we have not provided opportunities, or people have ignored the development of the king, of the priest, of the prophet within us, the warrior within us, the intercessor within us, the ability to navigate in marketplace spaces, also navigating in ministry spaces. You
Right.
don't have to pick one or the other.
Right.
You don't have to pick one or the other. He
Yes.
says you're a king and a priest. It may not mean you are a CEO, but you must understand how the legislative process and governmental power of authority that you have, how it works in your life, as well as how worship, your giving, your sacrifice, your praise works in your life,
Right.
so that real authority begins to come through your very presence when you show up in the room. Because and we're not taught those things, or they're not taught everywhere. And they
Right.
must be, it's almost like you're trying to walk with your right and your right leg and your right arm, and you're trying to really walk while not developing and getting the left side together. How can you get anywhere when you've only developed one part of you? And that one part of you is struggling because it's designed to have the other half of you working together. So
Yes.
now you got one side wearing itself out because
Right.
you never developed the other side to come together and create something called the body. And when the body is whole, then we'll begin to see tangible results almost on a daily basis.
So collaboration is also us collaborating within ourselves, and it's because there's a war inside of us, and then also collaborating with one another so that we can become successful in what we put our hands to.
And all this isn't so much about being rich and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It is really understanding your role in the kingdom on the earth, what you're called to do, from sonship to leadership. Understanding all of that ties to kingship and ties to the priesthood. And what does that mean?
Right.
It's like we're worshiping in a fragmented, broken state, dysfunctional, because we've been taught the king side is evil, because that's about money, that's about business, and God's not in that. But yet, some of our prayers are financial. A lot of our prayers are for breakthrough financially. Well, those are king things.
Yes.
That's king stuff.
Right.
So we have to allow ourselves, you said it before we start, we have to allow ourselves to learn how to harmonize and bring balance and health to the king and the priest in us, and bring it into who we are as sons. That as sons, our identity, our position, our legitimacy gives us access to the kingship and the priesthood, so that we walk as whole people and not just shouters and praisers, but also declares and decrees, those that can speak, those that can pray and stand in front of the chaos, the void and the darkness, and say 4 little words, let there be light, and see it scatter.
Yes.
And being able to stand.
That was collaboration right there.
That's collaboration. The Spirit's hovering, and here's the voice of God. Here's the collaboration. And being able to stand in front of a valley of dry bones, disconnected people, and be able to do as you've been commanded to prophesy, and allow those words to come out from that place of a king, that place of a priest, that place of a prophet, that's a son, and speak to that situation, and then step back and listen to the sound of it coming together, because the king has a sound and the priest has a sound. And we've gotten so used to the sound of the priest that we think it's strange when we hear the sound of the king. And they are 2 different sounds, but they must work together, because they give you something called one accord. An accord is not so much unity, it is the white and the black keys on the piano that when the hand strikes in the right way, it gives us something called a chord, which is a sound, which are the right keys being played at the right time under the right hand that gives us a sound. So we've gotten used to the sound of the priest, but we have not heard much from the sound of the king. And so we're in the days that the sound of the king and the priest, when the hand of God rests upon it, it will strike a vibration, a sound, a chord.
Yes.
Because the upper room, when they say we're on one accord, that means not so much that they were in unity, it meant that everybody was in their right place. Mm-hmm. And once everyone got into their right place, then here comes the sound. Here comes the wind. Here comes the Holy Ghost. And so right now, we must allow ourselves to get into the right place. So the 120 in the room is a collaboration of the church about to come forth, because it got on one accord. So the church was started with the collaboration of the 120 and the Holy Spirit working together. And that went from 120 to 3,000 plus, and the church continued to grow daily. So we're trying to grow. It's collaboration. We won't work together. So the church has grown off of organic kingdom collaboration, a corporate move. And we want it to grow under just our preaching alone. No, we must work together to grow the local and global church. Even if all the members don't come to your church, let's be glad that they got into the church, into the kingdom. The collaboration grows the body, not just our local assemblies alone, so we can brag. I want your church to grow. I want the church down the street to grow. And it may not be my season, nor it may not be my grace to have that kind of ministry, but it is my grace to make sure you have it. So when we learn collaboration, then we are able to work together to help everybody grow. Everybody is supposed to win.
You know, I see this.
Let me calm down.
No, I was like, can you see it? Can you see it? I can see it, because when you're talking about it, even now, in understanding collaboration, because I've always connected collaboration to a wound for me. So when I'm looking at collaboration, I see it as the birthplace where everything does come together, where there is aligning in collaboration. And for a wound to open up, for it to birth, there must be communication. There has to be talking. There has to be friction. There has to be things in there to call things to come into alignment, so that the purpose of the collaboration is fulfilled.
Exactly. And I think when there's no clear vision, then the collaboration becomes kind of, we start to devour one another.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we see happening. We don't want to work together. Well, you know, I'm so-and-so. Yeah, I get it. But you need everybody in this room. And you need to allow yourself to submit. I think pride, it gets us so bad that it hinders. I think pride, it hinders beautiful relationships from forming, and pride hinders true covenant from being displayed, demonstrated, and experienced.
Right.
So a lot of us really don't see great covenant. We see people along for the ride until it gets bumpy. We see people along, well, I'm good with you until you start growing. And then once you start growing, I got a problem with you.
Mm.
So we got a lot of self stuff that we got to deal with because we're sabotaging God ordained collaborations because we're struggling with where we are or where we are not
Right.
in ourselves.
Right.
And it's sad because as beautiful people, we could really work together and do something outside of just preaching in each other's pulpits. We really could do some business. We could buy some land together. We really could do some stuff, but we won't because I'm concerned you might get a foot more than I do. And I just can't do it. Then you'll take my idea and then go ahead and try to build it yourself. And it fails because the grace was not on a solo. The grace was on the collaboration. You can't take a grace that's assigned to collaboration and make it a solo grace. You don't get to rearrange the grace for the opportunity, for the assignment, for the moment. And
that's a whole good teaching of Dr. Kenneth. Well, that's a brilliant.
It says, and with great grace.
Yes.
And with great grace, the apostles ministered in power. The people started giving miracle signs and wonders broke out. And that mega grace, Greek word mega, great grace, corporate grace. That grace was assigned to a corporate move. You can't take a corporate grace and then isolate it, break it into small pieces for your empire, for you to build your empire. That grace is assigned to the kingdom, not your empire.
And I believe that's what we're looking at today. A lot of things that's why a lot of things are shifting the way they used to be, because God is trying to bring us back to the place where we begin to collaborate. And it's so interesting because when you look into the world, everybody else, as you said, are collaborating, and we still want to do things independent. But I believe that it's time for us to collaborate and allow the leader that is in each one of us to begin to come forth. But it is time to collaborate. It is time to come together. It is time to put down the pride or all those personal things that have gotten in the way, that have caused us not to collaborate and pick up integrity, vision, directions, commitment, bring our contributions together and our values, and let's begin to work this thing together, because collaboration requires alignment, and we do need to be aligned.
And I think, and as we prepare to close this out, and that went by real fast. Two things. I mean, really, I was like, wow. Two things. Number one, you can't collaborate with an orphan. It'll never work. You can't collaborate with someone who's just always trying to keep up with the Joneses. You can't collaborate with people who just they're like Judas. They love the ministry of Jesus Christ. They just don't love Jesus.
Not in the long run.
Yeah, they just don't love Jesus. I love what he does, and I love to be a part of it. I just don't that part about him dealing with me, my heart, me being healed. Yeah, you kind of keep that over there, which makes it easy for betrayal.
Right.
And so what happens, I really believe that orphan spirit. I know we talk about Jezebel and all that kind of stuff, but we sometimes have to talk about how that spirit of that orphan spirit, that disconnection of the love of God, never really being affirmed by the father or a father or mother, that lack of parental leadership as a child, all that stuff, it reaps havoc on trying to collaborate with people who just are only using this so the attention is on them, and it's never enough. it's never enough. When an orphan does not know the love of God and won't accept it, it's never enough for them. No matter how many accolades you give them, no matter how many leadership roles you can ordain them and make them the Archbishop of the Moon, it still will never be enough, because no title, no role, no opportunity can fill the void or where the lack of love is.
Right.
And that lack of understanding. And that's a problem of why we don't have great collaborations, because you got sons trying to collaborate with orphans under the guise that we're friends.
Yes.
Sometimes you don't know that they're orphans until it's time to build. And that's when you find out how they feel about you or how they don't feel about you. Right. So that's the thing. But I'll leave it right there. I will say this before we go. If you're interested in us, we thought about doing this like once a week. And at this time, if you're interested in us coming on here and running our mouth for about an hour and just sharing principles, we're not trying to get all deep and all that kind of stuff, but just sharing things that can help you in the ministry and in the marketplace, let us know. And we'll set up a time to come on here once a week and just talk and share and just shoot the breeze with you through Global Leadership Group. We're aspiring to move forward, offer different opportunities for growth and leadership and equipping and classes, even some master classes, and even hopefully some things like this where we can come together. So if you're definitely interested, please let us know in the comments. And what we'll do, we'll look to launch something that at least once a week we can come on here and like I said, just talk and share. And hopefully we can be an asset to your leadership and life journey. So take a moment and just type in, as Dr. Misty shares, anything else we need to do at this time.
Well, I do want to put an announcement out there, is that on Tuesday, we will be having Kingdom Convergence as Tier 1. We do have a website, and we want to invite you over to our website at globalleadershipgroup.net. Again, www.globalleadershipgroup.net. This is our email, or you can email us at info@globalleadershipgroup.net. So we will be able to get you all the information that you need. But our website again is at globalleadershipgroup.net. It's information regarding the tiers. We start this Tuesday. We're really excited about it. This is tier 1. There is 4 tiers. There is 4 weeks in each tier. We meet on Tuesdays. So if you're interested, please go over to globalleadershipgroup.net and subscribe to us, or send us an email at info@globalleadershipgroup.net, and we will get back to you. But we are so excited for what's coming up, and there's a lot more that is going on with global leadership, and we're unwrapping everything before you now. So get ready. It's like wrapping the present, So we're just taking the paper off off what's in the inside. So get excited, and if you are interested in us coming in, please write in there, Apostle Dr. Kenneth Law. Did you write? I see it. Yes, I'm interested. Yes, we need it. Willing to be taught weekly. This is really good, informative. Yes, I'm interested. If you are interested, please write on there, yes, I'm interested. Just go ahead and write. I see you. YouTube crashed. Okay. I see. I'm glad it's got back. I'm glad you got it back up.
Good stuff. I think one thing while people were waiting on as I'm looking at some of the people that are on here, one person that I know who was an amazing leadership coach, she put on here about understanding your personal leadership style helps too. And we didn't get a chance to talk about that, but maybe the next time we can. Understanding how you manage things helps you understand how collaborations will work, because not all collaborations are the same, and they got different dynamics. And perhaps that's the next one we'll talk about, is the different dynamics of collaborations, and also because the different problems, different situations, different styles, different cultures. different mindsets. And so we definitely will do that. I appreciate Ms. Kimberly Baker, a good friend of mine, putting that on here about leadership styles, because not even biblically, not all sizes fit all. Not one leadership size fits everybody. But there are certain elements that should be a part of it in order for us to be successful.
May be able to put I am certified at that, actually. So we can probably maybe give you a link so you can probably understand, and I'll look and see if we can do that more also personally, because depending on, so you can understand your leadership style. How do you lead by?
Yeah. And when you begin to understand that and understand who you are and especially emotional intelligence, and we can definitely talk about that. I think that is a huge, Lord, I wanted to go down there today, but I said it would take the whole.
That's the possible when you're talking about
emotional
intelligence. Like,
yeah, we'll talk about that next time.
I'm hearing that more and more and more because when I first heard it, I heard it in the church, but it's more, it's really being used outside of the church, emotional intelligence.
Yeah, I think we need to talk about it. I have a virtual leadership with my leader Saturday morning, and I'm going to talk about that, an emotional intelligent leader, and I'm going to address some things there about that, because I think a lot of times we're so, and I know we got to go, but we've been so caught up in the pomp and circumstance, the ordinations, the licensures, and stuff about being the pastor, the apostle, the prophet, but we forgot about being good people, and forgot about how to be a good person, how to manage emotions, how to be aware of how your presence impacts people, even if you're not even speaking. And there's some people that can walk in a room and it just changes the whole air. And people once was enthusiastic, now all of a sudden they really don't want to be bothered. They're ready to go. So it's a lot here we could talk about, and I'm not going to do this, but I love that if we can. It helped me to better understand
your language.
Yeah, it really is like, oh, it almost makes you realize you may have been preaching mad and didn't know it.
Yeah,
you may have been leading in anger and not leading in grace, but you thought you were doing something because the people were responding. They were just simply just doing it to get you out of the way. You don't realize sometimes people will just tolerate your leadership and not even really receive your leadership. You need people to be inspired by your leadership and influence, not just tolerated. When your leadership is just tolerated, you are not having impact. You are causing destruction. So let me stop because I feel bubbly about that subject. So I'm going.
It's on.
Yeah, I just want to help. I mean, I think a lot of us are struggling behind the red shirts and the purple shirts and the gold crosses and rings, and we're struggling with how to be a person, and we got to find healthy spaces that allow us to be a person, learn how to be a healthy person again, so that the position and the performance is healthy. Yeah. And it's okay when they don't call your name anymore. You'll still be okay with who you are.
Because there's a time where they will not call your name. One day.
Oh, yes, it will.
Will not call your name.
It's going to be a day.
Yes.
It's going to be a day.
You're going to be able to handle. Dr. When you look at it now, people who were called 3 years ago, 4 years ago, they're not being called today. If you begin to look, you see that even the generals that were present, they're not here anymore. So people's names that they're accustomed is not being called anymore. So that's why it's very important to know your person. And he has a book called Becoming, and we need to, if you go to our website,
we'll talk about that.
You will be able to get that book. There is a clip in there on one of the chapters in there. Just click on it. There's also, I put my book on there, also Principles of Ministry. You can click on it and you can get a chapters, get some inserts on some information on that. But if you don't have the book Becoming in your library, I really encourage you to go and get that. And then while you're getting that, you can go and purchase principles for ministry as well. They're definitely going to bless you. But I'm telling you, the book of Becoming is going to deliver you if you're struggling with your identity. It is going to, or you've been raised in a single family home. It's really, really going to help you.
And when you say that, I think even beyond the book, a lot of people have never really been exposed. Not Let me just say, there's some people who were not exposed to healthy parental leadership. Your parents were supposed to be your first experience of leadership as you came into the world, and their job was supposed to, from 0 to 6, to help you form who you are, so that bringing you into the understanding of who you are.
Right.
And what has happened, there are so many people that have not been developed as children, that they behave in their 40s like a child. So that's why you may see somebody get offended. They stomp off, literally having temper tantrums, because there was nothing there to help develop the emotions, the thinking, the leadership, the respect, the honor, the discipline, the focus, the drive, the determination, work ethic, all of those kind of things. And that is so necessary for success. I'm not talking about financial success. I'm talking about being able to look yourself in the mirror and you like that person. Still got some work to do, but I like that person because I'm built good. I got some good wiring. I can adjust. And so I think sometimes in this time of ministry, people are adjusting to their names not being called, because everything was built off of the praise in the green rooms, but never built off of the person being in the prayer room. And that time that we spent have not spent in the prayer room, because we were pursuing the green room.
Woo!
And so now the green room ain't that green, and things are changing. People are looking elsewhere, and people are struggling with that. And there comes a time when the young lion becomes the old lion, and the roar isn't that strong, but they still are who they are, and they can still be respected. But you got to allow yourself to grow to that place. And then I say this solemnly, I'm concerned about many of us in ministry that are in leadership, because we built a lot of this stuff off of other people's perceptions of what they thought we were supposed to be, based on what they can benefit from us being it.
Right.
And now you're really not that person, and that person is gone, and things are fading. But the good news is, if you can learn how to pivot, if you can learn how to shift where you are and see God a new way for your life, you can reinvent, you can rebrand, whatever, refresh, whatever, and really create a new life that's good for you, the life you really want. So I know we got to go, but I just want to say that I'm concerned, because there will be a day they won't call for you. There will be a day you won't be on the flyer. There will be a day no one wants you to part of the ordination. It might not even be in the ordinations. You can just go online. It's so much changing, but don't let the disruption of patterns and cycles make you feel that you're not worthy and not needed. It's time to shift, and it's time to pivot in your life, so you can see who you are, not what you do, not what you have. Less time to see who you are, because at the end of the day, you have to live with that person, and you need to be happy and at peace with who you are, not what you have, not your role, your identity, your clarity of mind of who you are. That's what's going to be beautiful for you. So I'm gonna stop right there, Dr. Misty.
I just want to bring this up so those of you that use will be able to see Global Leadership's website. I'm going to ask that you would go and that you would check out www.globalleadershipgroup.net. And if you go down here, you'll see Start Your Leadership Journey. And we will be having, starting this Tuesday coming up, March 25th, we will have our first leadership meeting, which is Leadership Convergence Tier 1. So go to the website and get the information. And also, those of you that may be interested in, being a part, monthly newsletters, getting some master classes. We do have 4 plans, which is emerging leader, leadership essential, executive mentorship, and VIP leadership acceleration. These are monthly plans that you will be open to receiving. Each plan offers different things, so you can go and you can check that out today. And again, you do that by going to www.globalleadershipgroup.net. And again, we want to thank you for coming on. We want to thank you for allowing us to share with you on collaboration and much extras, much more. I should say much more that you have received. So have a very, very powerful day. Someone says, I'm interested. I have the book Becoming. It's time for a refresher, very good read. Someone else said I have both books are very good and really help you to understand you and your ministry. So we're glad that you are purchasing the book. So again, you can go. I know I have Dr. Law's book here, but this is the cover of one of the books. The other book is over there. I don't want to move my seat, but you can just pick them up. Go pick the books up today. You can be blessed by them, and they will help you in your leadership. Both of them will help you in your leadership journey. So Apostle, Dr. Kenneth K. Law. So we are blessed by you, blessed by your wisdom. So glad that I'm able to unite with you and being able to teach on the same platforms and teach on different arenas with you. And for those of you coming in, please tell someone about Global Leadership Group. Have a blessed day.
Thank you for tuning in with us.